Hello everyone, I'm Andy Pruitt, Director of Communications and Technology with Charleston County School District, and you're watching this installment of CCSD Insights News and Notes. In this edition, we are talking about a new initiative from the district, from the Office of Facilities Management. Our district is testing our schools' drinking water for lead. That's a very important component to our overall mission of providing a safe and secure learning environment for all of our students and staff. And here to talk more about this program is our Associate of Facilities Management, Ron Kramps. Ron, thank you for taking time to speak about this. Thank you for the effort that you and your team are putting in to execute this program. And first of all, I just want to start off by asking you, why is it important for our district to do this when there are no laws at the federal or state level requiring school districts to do this?
The purpose of my department is providing safe, healthy, comfortable, pleasant facilities that work all the time and enhance learning. And we take that mission very, very seriously. So I want to provide a safe environment, and a big part of that safe environment is safe drinking water, good quality drinking water. So I want to provide water that's at least as safe as the public utility delivers to us. You may know that most of our schools are connected to a public utility. We have no concern for the quality of the water that we're receiving from the public utility. But because of the use of a school, it has a cyclical pattern. Kids are there during the day, they leave at night. Water can sit in the pipes, in the plumbing fixtures over a period of time and pick up some contaminants perhaps. So we want to make sure that our water is as good as a quality as can be. It's not required, as you mentioned, to test for lead in our drinking water. There's no law, federal or state law, that requires us to test our drinking water. But we have some older facilities with older plumbing fixtures, things that were installed when the schools were originally constructed. And so we just want to go in and make sure that the water quality is good water quality. That's why we're testing. We just have come to the conviction that's the right thing to do, whether or not it's required by any law or regulation. It's just something that we're going to do.
Who else has been involved in the planning for this? It's not just your office. I mean, there's a lot more to this outside Charleston County School District.
That's right. So I took over the environmental program for the district a couple of years ago, and I made contact with our water public utilities, Mount Pleasant Water and Charleston Water System. And we started talking about our water quality and how I could ensure good water quality in the schools. And as I interacted with them, they brought up some ideas about flushing programs, and they brought up some ideas about doing some sampling. And so Mount Pleasant Water, Charleston Water System gave me some guidance about how to do a sampling program. And then I made contact with the head of the water program for the state of South Carolina at DHEC, the Department of Health and Environmental Control in Columbia. I made contact with one gentleman, the head of the program. He came and visited here with me. And so DHEC, CCSD, Charleston Water System, and Mount Pleasant Water, we all met together in this room and talked about the sampling program. So I asked them, what threshold should I use, what samples should I be taking, and that kind of thing. So those three professional organizations that focus on health and environmental control and water quality guided me in developing a sampling plan.
So can you explain how you test the water in our schools and what you are looking for?
Certainly. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency regulates the public water utilities in our country. And so our public water utilities have to sample throughout their service area, and they use a threshold. It's 15 parts per billion. So imagine a billion of anything. 15 parts per billion is the standard for lead in drinking water. And so DHEC, Mount Pleasant Water, and Charleston Water all suggested unanimously that I use that same standard, because that's the standard that's used across our country and across our state, 15 parts per billion. And that is a technical threshold. So that rule is in place so that the public utilities, if they have exceedances of that threshold, they take technical action to address whatever the problem might be. And so that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to look at all the outlets in our schools which are intended for consumption. So I'm going to check all the fountains. I'm going to check sinks that might be used for drinking. I'm going to check all those outlets in kitchens, nurse's office, all the trailers, etc. For 15 parts per billion, that's the standard we're using. And then depending on what we find, take action based on that. The samples we're taking in all these outlets that I've mentioned are what's called first draw samples. So imagine that water is sat in a tap, in a fountain overnight or over a weekend. What you want to do is you want to sample the first draw, the first water that comes out of that tap after it perhaps is sat in a fixture for a period of time, at least 8 hours, as much as several days. So we're using a 250 milliliter sample. That's about 8.5 ounces, about the size of a teacup. And it's that first draw, that first flush. It's also about the size what someone would drink, basically. And so that's the kind of sample that we're taking, a first draw sample.
So let's say we get a result above that action threshold. What are the next steps in addressing that?
The next steps in addressing that are, it sounds, well, it's not meant to sound cute, but it's fixtures, flushing, and filtering. So if we find something, we're going to take a close look at that fixture. Is it the fixture? We're going to take another sample of that fixture just to make sure we can repeat the result, make sure it wasn't an error. Then we're going to change that fixture out. We're just going to replace it because we want to put a new fixture there. And then we're going to sample again to make sure we've solved whatever was causing that issue, if it was the fixture. We may also employ a flushing program. So if the problem is water that sits in a tap, well, there's a simple solution. It's just to flush the water out of that tap. So could be a big part of the program. And then filtering. We have filters that are certified to remove lead from drinking water. We're installing those we already have those in almost all of our hydration stations, our bottle fill stations, and in many of our drinking fountains. So filtering might be an action employed as well. So if we find anything, we're taking action in that fashion.
And it's immediate.
And it is definitely immediate.
What is the timeline for testing all of our schools? And we've got 80 some odd facilities that provide education for students across our county. So this began in October, the beginning of October.
Right.
How long will it take to test all of our schools?
We prioritized which schools to sample first, and so we've sampled about 35 schools. And we're just about done collecting all those samples. They're being analyzed. And it'll take another couple of months to get through the remainder of the schools. So we have another 40 or so schools that we're going to sample. So we'll be sampling probably through the holidays into January, perhaps into February. And there's, as I mentioned, a little delay time while we get the results. So we should be done by February with all the sampling. As we receive results, though, we'll post those results, make those results available.
Okay, so Ron, where can our staff members, where can our parents, where can community members go to learn more about this program, but maybe more importantly, learn about the results that have been recorded in our schools when it comes to this testing program?
So we're posting frequently asked questions and our results at my facilities management webpage. So if you go to CCSD Facilities Management, you'll find our webpage, and there's a link there that says Drinking Water Sampling Program. Click that link. A page will open that has a couple of paragraphs of introduction. At the bottom of that page, there are 2 links. One is frequently asked questions. There are about 20 questions and answers that explain some of the details of why we're doing this and what we're doing. And then there's a link at the very bottom that has the results.
Final question, Ron. What could you say because to community members, to parents, to staff members about this program? Obviously, watching this video, they may have some concerns. So in a way to address those concerns as best as possible, what would you say to them?
I would say we take the safety, health, and well-being of our students very, very seriously. And as evidence of that, we're doing this sampling program that's not required by any law, but we just are of the conviction that it's the right thing to do. So we're gonna find out if we have any issues with our drinking water, and we're going to take care of them. We're going to act immediately to correct anything that we find so that we have the best water quality, the best learning environment in our schools, because that's what we're here for: safe, healthy, comfortable, pleasant facilities that work all the time and enhance learning.
Ron, thank you very much again for your time spent on this initiative. And as you heard Mr. Kramps say, go to the district website, ccsdschools.com, look for the facilities management page. Once you go there, you'll see links for the testing results as well as frequently asked questions for this water testing initiative. Thank you for watching this edition of CCSD Insights News and Notes.